Committee, Thomas Crowley, testifying on both items, please. Obviously, it's hard to separate any of these things, state's efforts, county's efforts, housing, long-term housing, building new housing. These are all things that we have to take very seriously and have to do as quickly as possible. But the part of this that I'd like to share some info on are, as was discussed yesterday, the 10,000 short-term rental, second home, timeshare units that are in West Maui that potentially could provide a lot of the housing that would be necessary. But I think that the county has to participate in that effort. And I sent everyone an email last week about this. We should recognize that the highest property tax rates are assessed to these property owners. And the cost for these property owners on average is $12,800 a year in property taxes. So if this council could pass an emergency resolution to waive the property taxes for all of the folks who are willing to turn their units into emergency long-term housing for someone, that's reducing the rent by $1,000 a month, okay? So we were looking yesterday for where's the money going to come from? Who's going to pay for these? Well, one of the places that some of the money can come from is the County of Maui by waiving these rents. Now, obviously, you're going to have to put together a program that's very clear that says, here's what you're going to have to commit to get this waiver of the rents, a waiver of the property taxes. And what I would suggest is that you do the same thing that was done for the homes that were destroyed. The property taxes get waived for this tax year, and for the first payment that these guys made, you give them their money back for this year. Now, for next year, if the person is going to continue to participate, then they would qualify, I guess, for the long-term rental exemption that we have. Except, again, it becomes difficult to make that happen because of the way our tax system works. They would need to apply for that before the end of this year. And how do they know if they're going to, be participating next year? So if you honestly, truly think that you can get 2,000 units roughly from the short-term rentals and second homes in West Maui, the county is going to have to put together a program that makes that attractive to these folks to do. Now, I do want you to understand why many of these units do sit empty for a good period of the year. For most of these folks, these units are their second homes. And for most of these folks, they use them during the winter season. So they're coming to use their units for 3 months or 6 months during the winter season. And then during the rest of the year, they may or may not be trying to rent them out as short-term rentals. But for that person to say, I'm going to give up using my unit and making my trip my annual trip to Maui for the winter season and house someone in my unit, then they need some type of incentive. And I think an incentive would be, oh, I'm going to get a check back from the county for $13,000. I'll go to Europe this year, for my vacation instead of coming to Hawaii. So that's why I think that we need to be creative and we need to take steps like this. And this is one step that this county council can take. And it's kind of one of the only things that you can do that's in your power to help this situation. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about my idea of this, but it's something that I really think you should work on. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Cody. We have a question from Member Paulton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Cody. I just wanted to clarify. I didn't hear you say that there would be a rent assist. We've seen 1 bedrooms going for $4,000, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms going for $7,000, and I just wanted to clarify: was it that you were seeing that people would have to pay rent on these on top of the property tax waiver? And if so, following possibly HUD guidelines as to what the rent can be before they receive that type of benefit? Because if they're gonna charge like $7,000 a month, I don't see
Yeah.
the point a little bit.
Okay, so I agree with you that I don't think that it's practical for the county or for FEMA or for whomever, Red Cross, to be paying $7,000 for a two-bedroom unit. But recognize that $7,000, probably $4,000 of it is actual costs, hard costs that the owner has to pay. So this is why the owner can't rent that two-bedroom unit for whatever HUD guidelines, $2,000 a month, something like that, okay? So there has to be a participation on all sides to make this work. I agree with you that you can't give them their cake and eat it too. You can't say, I'm going to give you the full amount of expenses that you would have to hold on to your unit and also waive your property taxes for you. But if the idea is that we do get down to roughly the HUD guidelines, which I think are around $2,000 for a two-bedroom unit, the only way to do that is to find ways to supplement the rent. And one way, and maybe the only way, that this county has to participate in that would be the waiver of these property taxes. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Chair.
Members, any other questions for Mr. Cody? Seeing none. So, Mr. Cody, was that your testimony on both items?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So,
Okay.